business tó ń ṣe yìí jẹ́ kí n fi 100 million sí now so that a máa pín profit yẹn tó bá ti wọlé ní báyìí irú owó yẹn náà ó máa useful fún business yẹn láti tún ṣe kí ni o láti tún expand sí. Number 4, it gives you brand protection. It gives you brand protection. There's something in law. See, if you have a business, nǹkan nu wa ó máa ń ṣe wá dáadáa àti ní orúkọ ta like àti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní lo orúkọ yẹn lọ register ẹ̀ ẹlòmíì lọ register orúkọ yẹn ó wá that person tó bá ti register orúkọ yẹn ó lè sue ẹ for using that name because ó dàbí ẹ jẹ́ kí n ṣàlàyé Emzor Pharmaceuticals ká ní pé Emzor Pharmaceuticals ó ti ń ṣe oògùn káàkiri wọn ò dẹ̀ register èèyàn kan wá wò ó wá lọ register Emzor Pharmaceuticals yẹn ẹni yẹn lè sue ẹni tó ṣe Emzor tí gbogbo èèyàn ti mọ̀ gangan yẹn ó lè sue ẹ̀ débi pé ó máa wà forced láti change orúkọ yẹn. So once you register your name, it protects your brand from any other person that wants to use that name. Number 5, it gives you access to enjoy government contracts. There's no way you want to apply for any government contract. We want to pray for double portion. There's no way you apply for government contracts and your business is not registered. They will require that you bring at least a corporate affairs commission incorporation certificate. That's the CSC certificate. Then it also exposes you to international businesses. Ó máa fún ẹ ní àǹfààní láti ṣe òwò kọjá ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà nìkan, ó lè ṣòwò anywhere in any parts of the world. It gives you legal capacity to sue and be sued. Once your business is registered, now the difference between business registration àti limited registration òun ni pé ní business registration yẹn it is a one-man business, it's a one-man kind of business. So tí business yẹn tó bá jẹ gbèsè ẹni tí ó wà tó jẹ́ one man tó manage yẹn òun ló jẹ gbèsè o. But in limited company registration, the owners of the business are protected. They are protected. It means that the company has his own identity. It has its own legal personality. The company can sue in the name Foladotun Limited. Only sue anybody. Anybody not that sue Foladotun Limited instead of coming to the person to share gang to register gangan. That is to je Folashade yen ati Oyedotun. Legal capacity, Then finally, it gives you perpetual succession. Àìmọye businesses tó jẹ́ pé àwọn tó dálẹ̀ wọ́n ti kú. Tó jẹ́ pé àwọn ọmọ wọn wọ́n tún tẹ̀síwájú. Once you register your business, it ensures that your business continues. Even when you are dead, people can step in and then continue to carry on the business. And gbogbo kini business registration only advantage, ó dẹ̀ ní disadvantage títí ẹ̀. But maybe in the course of our discussion, tabari questions, we will now be able to discuss the disadvantages. In Yoluwa.
In Yoluwa logo. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn ẹlẹgbẹ́ mi tí wọ́n gbé àǹfààní ilẹ̀ láti rí pé àwọn ọmọ ìjọ wa, because our plan is that the church is going to be a church for prosperous youth and for growth personally in all our lives. But you can't grow without knowing some basic things like the contract and thing registration. Tó bá ń dá okòwò ṣe lábẹ́ yàrá ẹ̀, ó ní àǹfààní tó lè jẹ. Tó bá wà ní under registration, ó ní àwọn àǹfààní tó lè jẹ. So wọ́n ní Yorùbá máa ní pé mẹ́nìkan ò ṣáájú lọ́gbẹ́ kíníkan kìnìkan. Ó gbẹnu sékè ó ń dúró de kówé jẹ́ tẹ̀yìn àgbàsà. Ẹ̀yin Olúwa lógo. So these are some of the principles of success. If you need to be successful in life, you need to be a corporate entity. You can't do it on your own. As an individual, yes, there's a limit which you can go. Ó dàbí mọ́tò ni. Tó bá gbé Volkswagen, ó níbi tó lè lọ, eré tó lè sá. Tó bá gbé Mercedes Benz, ó ní eré tó lè sá. So if you want to achieve more, you you need to make yourself more open to other opportunities, and part of them is being a corporate entity. And I thank my colleague Barrister OKUWOBI for breaking down the types of companies which you can have. Only báyé sọ̀rọ̀ lọ ní kọ́kọ́ wá sí mi lọ́kàn pé ìtẹ̀ àdìmọ́ àwọn nǹkan tá a fẹ́ sọ, which is called intellectual property. And we are in the world of in this current dispensation that we are seeing, àwa ní ayé ìgbàlódé, ayé ọ̀làjú tí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ oníjára ló ti wà lóríṣiríṣi. Bá ṣe ń ṣe iṣẹ́ ìsìn, ẹni tó bá fẹ́ wò ní London ó lè wò, ẹni tó bá fẹ́ wò ní any part of the world ó lè wò. But we need to understand one thing. Intellectual property is nǹkan tó ní nínú ọpọlọ ẹ̀. Oftentimes, a lot of us, especially we in this part of the denomination, we don't often appreciate it. What the God of Masora, idea kan sin. Ẹjọ́ sọ béèrè ṣùgbọ́n pé tí bá mú ilé, tá bá mú ilé, a lè fi ṣe nǹkan báyìí. Ó wá di pé wọ́n yẹ sọ fún mi náà ìjà yẹn ń sìn. Ògúngún mọ̀ kankan tiẹ̀, ó ti sọ ó ti lọ. Ìbílẹ̀ tí mo jẹ́ pé mo jẹ́ investor, mo kàn jókòó sílé, mo kàn rò ní ọ̀tọ̀ nìkan tí ìbòrà Ṣọlá bá mi sọ yẹn o, mo dẹ̀ gbé ṣe. Ta ló ní idea? Ta ló ń jẹ owó ẹ̀? Bọ̀dà Kẹ́hìndé. So ó dẹ̀ máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìgbà. A máa ń sọ pé àmọ́ mọ̀. And under the law, ignorance is not an excuse. So your ideas, your drawings, especially this goes out to the youth, your ideas, your recordings, your thoughts, everything, and it's odowo. In fact, owó ni. Ẹnìkan ló ronú pé tẹ́lẹ̀ mo mọ̀ pé bàtà máa dá church ilẹ̀, a kò máa ṣe ìyèrè káàkiri. Ẹnìkan ló ronú pé a lè pe àpéjọpọ̀ ká jókòó sí bíbà ẹ̀ ká sọ di ilé àdúrà. Idea ẹnìkan nìyẹn. So it's intellectual property, which is very important, especially for the youth, because only àìbá wọn sí níbẹ̀ ní ẹ̀bá dá sí. If you want to be rich and successful, your ideas needs to be jealously guided. Ẹlòmíì ó lè sọ̀rọ̀ dọ̀lálẹ̀ kúrúkúrú tó dẹ̀ ń sọ èdèkèrè, ó mú ọ̀rọ̀ ọpọlọ dání, ṣùgbọ́n ó kàn ti sọ́lẹ̀ ni. Ẹni tó mọ̀ ọ́ lò á mú lò. Tó bá dọ̀là ní pé kíní yẹn fẹ́ jọ, ó fẹ́ dàbí nǹkan tí mo ti rò rí, ìwọ ló ní bọ́ ò kọ́ mọ ìwúlò ẹ̀ ni. So a máa sọ̀rọ̀ lédèfé lóde because a fún ọ ní àsìkò tó tọ́. Tàbádẹ̀ rí ìbéèrè tó bá jẹ mọ́, then we can easily discuss it. We have four types, basically four types of intellectual property. We have what we call copyright, we have what we call trademarks, we have what we call patents, and we have what we call trade secrets. Copyright, trademarks, patents, and trade secrets. So copyright, má bẹ̀ lórí copyright. Irú àwọn ọmọ wa kan wà fẹ́ pé ẹ máa rí wọn láti kékeré, wọ́n like kó máa rojọ́, kó máa sọ̀rọ̀, kó máa kọ̀ǹkọ́lẹ̀. Daddy mo fẹ́ kọ, Daddy I want to write a story. Encourage ọmọ yẹn láti kọ story. I can remember one of my cousins, her first book was written at the age of 9 years old. And it was a book selling, bestseller. At 9, imagine pé kò bí mọ́ sí kókò kọ kíní kan sí, ó di 9 years old pé ó dẹ̀ di bestseller, ó ti ń gba million. Èmi ò bí ẹ̀kú kí ni wọ́n rí mọ́. tí tó máa fi dàgbà àti àwọn máa fi owó yẹn jẹ ni. Because mo láti tọ́ sọ́nà láti mọ bóyá máa náwó kó má bàa náwó ẹ̀ nínàkínà. Adéjọba àjọ máa nà náà ni. So if we have kids that write books, that write stories, and that is copyright. You can go to we have the Ministry of Trade and Commerce, which register this thing. They can register that your book. Ẹ̀yàn mi ò ní lè kọ orú ẹ̀ mọ́. Orúkọ ẹ ti máa wà ń bẹ̀. Púpọ̀ ọ̀nù wa gan là ń kọ ẹlòmíì wà tó pé composer àwọn akọrin náà èmi ni mo lórí yìí. Ó kọ̀ sí aráyé gbọ́ ni ẹ mọ̀ tó bá notice pé most times ìjà máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ pé èmi mo lórí kan báyìí nìkan ló tó kọ́kọ́ ó wá kọ version kan báyìí. Ó kọ̀ kọ́lẹ̀ faráyé ni ẹni tó bá gbọ́ á lọ ṣe copyright lórí orin yẹn òun ló lórí yẹn lọ́la nìyẹn tó bá play orin yẹn ní anywhere òun ló máa gba owó ẹ̀. And we have a lot of money making tools these days. We have Spotify, we have a lot of strong platforms that people pay money for. Ó ṣe gbogbo orin tó ń rìn ẹ̀rọ bí agbègbè ló ń jáwó ẹlòmíì wà ó kọ̀ọ̀kan ní kan tó ń ṣe kíní kan ó lè jẹ́ pé Germany lọ́wọ́ kan ti like orin yẹn ó dẹ̀ máa gba owó ẹ̀ in dollars. So kò ṣe gbogbo àgbẹ̀ tó gbé gbogbo àgbẹ̀ yẹn aláti kó àtàjọ aláti kó kíní kan jọ àtẹ̀bí pé aṣọ di okòòwò ọpọlọ wa yìí okòòwò ni. When God gave us this brain, in fact, God said that the scientists have proven that human beings have yet to tap into 20% of the capacity of the brain. So imagine we are traveling on airplanes now. Imagine we are going to other planets and we have just used only 20%. It shows you what God has embedded in us as human beings. God is a creator. He creates things every time. That is why this is a thought for us to go home and think. If God can create human beings, can create air, I can create more things as well. He has given me that capacity to be able to expand and create things. So as individuals, we need to do that. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa nǹkan tó ń ṣe wá kò ṣe pé ogun ìdílé àbí àwọn ará ìlú ẹ̀ a kò lè jókòó ká ro orí pé kí ló lè ṣẹlẹ̀ kí ni mo lè fi ọpọlọ orí mi rò. The things you enjoy doing more are the things that can give you money. Ẹ wọ́n tó ń gbá bọ̀ ẹlòmíì ń gba how many million per week fún nǹkan tó like láti máa ṣe. Ẹ wọ́n tó ń kọrin mo lè kọrin láti ní dọ́là kí ni mi máa dùn. Ó wá sọ nǹkan tí wọ́n máa ń sanwó fún mi lórí ẹ̀ ẹni pé mo tẹ jackpot nìyẹn. So you need to discover what you are passionate about and be able to protect it. Ẹ má yẹ ká lọ sínú ìyẹn, that's another topic for another day. We can discuss about that and see how we can expand. So for copyright, literary books, drama, even àwọn tó ń ṣe drama, àwọn tó ń ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀, you can copy, you can Nigeria not say ADESHILE, so many movies that are making millions of nairas in the box office. So we can tap into that. It's not every time everybody must wear tie and shirt. Your brain, your idea should put food on your table. The second one is patent. Patent. That is the original. This grants you exclusive rights for inventions. Nigerians, we tell ourselves, I want to pay Nigeria or they should toothpick. And produce. We are a highly importing driven economy. And we can't be successful with importation. We need to be able to produce. Packaging everything. But if you don't take Gary seal, how many don't tani 5,000. Go to Garawa kan. Torí pé nìkan kan rò pé mo máa ṣe gàrí, máa fi sínú sealable bag, máa seal it, máa package it. That idea, you can patent that idea and it becomes exclusive to you. Ìwọ ló ní èrò yẹn, ìwọ ló ní ọkàn yẹn. Kò dẹ̀ gbàládùra pé the ideas that are going to break Nigeria God will give you and I in Jesus' name. Trademark for the artist. I want to manage our Teba mo for young ones, but I talk with Nike, swoosh. Le lo anywhere. They've been able to trademark that sign and that logo. Even for corporate people that are having businesses, I advise that you have a logo, you have a branding, you can trademark your brand. Nobody can use that branding, nobody can use that logo again. Tabatiri, business lele. Tabari Pepsi, as okay, logo one lele. Tabari anytime so logo one lele. So you have to trademark those things. So if you want to have a business, make sure you have a logo or a mark. Hopefully they pay to my device. That be lo trademark here. Ile so to ba dojo la logo to say eni ko ma be pe jo long. So the boy say kini e to ma say ma for any $1 million. Wọ́n lọ ma sako iro to ba $5 million. I won't do it. But oko sebe ni ko mu lo your right have gone is that trade secrets. Protect confidential business information that gives company competitive edge. I need very fantastic idea. Some people you have a conversation with, you can also have your trade secret registered so that nobody can do your idea or perform your idea. Tabari àwọn commit tó kù ká lè jọ discuss lórí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí tó bá jẹ bí ìbéèrè tó bá jẹ yọ a lè jọ máa sọ Ọlọ́run yóò wà pẹ̀lú wa ṣe púpọ̀.
Ẹ̀yin Olúwa a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run fún oore ọ̀fẹ́ tí ó fún wa àti àwọn bàbá wa for the grace given to us to enlighten us regarding the laws of our land. Yes, so I'll be talking more about offenses and defenses. Now, everybody here are more 10 commandments. We even know it at the back of our palms, like we know that, okay, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. But share more àwọn òfin ilẹ̀ wa, ṣé a mọ̀ nǹkan tó lè di ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ní ilẹ̀, ṣé a mọ̀ nǹkan tí a lè, even if peradventure we fall victim of that kind of offense, ṣé a mọ̀ nǹkan tá lè sọ tó máa yọ wá lẹ́sẹ̀ àbí tó máa mitigate the punishment for such wrongdoing. Now, the ACJL provides that when you are arrested by the police, taken to the police station, before you write your statement, your legal practitioner should be available with a video recording to take your statement. But in Nigeria, particularly in Lagos, Nigeria, policemen always avoid that you have your legal practitioner on ground to take your statement. But as individuals, you should be aware of the kind of offense you have committed and know what defense you can put down in your statement. Because statement, loma lo against in court, even if it's below higher court, statement loma drew against in. So you should know what to put down so that your legal practitioner has a soft landing. Toba de court, deba loba, deba sofun. Ale mo koto mu mashe going forward. Now there are 3 types of offenses. We have misdemeanors, we have simple offenses, and we have capital offenses. Misdemeanors are like traffic offenses that attract fine, attract caution, and is not like, okay, even if you're convicted, maybe 3 months, but not up to 3 years. Then simple offenses are offenses that attract also fine, but if you are convicted, you can be convicted of up to 3 years. Misdemeanor, if you get convicted, is within 3 months, but not more than 3 years. But simple offenses can be up to 3 years. Then there are capital offenses. These are offenses that attract life imprisonment, 14 years imprisonment under more than 7 years, life imprisonment, execution, that's death by hanging, sentencing by death. Now, I'll be talking more about capital offenses, and they are not limited to what I'll be mentioning, but just for the purpose of this lecture, I'm talking about rape and defilement. Now, the law provides that you commit the offense of rape upon penetration without consent. Once you penetrate someone's private parts without the person's consent, that is rape. Defilement is penetration without the consent of anybody less than 18 years old. Now, when I say penetration, key two adults come to Wakpakbo, and there is even already penetration. If any of the parties says, "Mi o se mo," if the person continues, otin rape. If you see a child that is not up to 18 years old, but jet age lawa, everybody looks big. Appear as 18, but it's not yet 18. I am not worried. To ti consent pé ẹjẹ́ ká ṣe yẹn, tó bá lọ report any police station, you have defiled the child. Now, for defilement, consent is immaterial. Whether or not mo consent, whether or not consent, you have defiled the child, and it attracts life imprisonment. Same as rape. Secondly, we have stealing. Now, this offense, stealing and receiving, is very common amongst people, particularly receiving. Mo lọ sọ́jà, mo fẹ́ lọ ra phone. Ẹ̀yin ò mọ̀ pé phone tí wọ́n tà yìí has been stolen. Ẹ̀yin kò rà, ẹ dẹ̀ gbé lọlé. Tí wọ́n bá track phone yẹn wá bá yín, wọ́n dẹ̀ mú phone yẹn, you will be charged for receiving stolen property. And the funny thing is that the punishment for receiving stolen property is more than any tó jalè lọ, because receiving attracts 14 years imprisonment, but stealing can be 3 years, can be 7 years. That is why you should take note that timba lọ rajà lọ́jà, ẹ bá ń kọ receipt. Now, because stealing is obviously dishonest taking. You take what does not belong to you. But receiving, you can fall victim of the circumstance. Every motto, Nita, 150, sales, see, how much is this guy? It's 1 million. Okay, like by 1 million. So, you have received stolen property because you do not have maybe the receipt, you do not have the registration number of that car. Another one is manslaughter. Now, because in our daily life, we get to offend each other. Now, manslaughter is not murder. Murder is when you kill somebody with the intention, that is murder. But manslaughter is when you cause the death of someone else without the intention to kill. Brother, no. Any will not be charged for murder, but the person will be charged for manslaughter. Mo lọ anja nílé, ẹ lọ ṣọmọ èèyàn lọ́rùn, ẹni yẹn ṣubú ó kú. Ẹ pa ẹni yẹn, ẹ ní lọ́kàn pé mo fẹ́ pa ẹni yìí. You just fall victim of that circumstance, and you will not be charged for murder, but manslaughter. Manslaughter, there is voluntary manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter, manslaughter by provocation. So there are several types of manslaughter, but still on still is life imprisonment. It's not two fighting, no manslaughter. It's not two fighting, manslaughter. Then there's armed robbery. Now, I said stealing, according to the law, is dishonest taking. Emu phone, lagbaja, efisako, that's stealing. But according to the law, under the law, armed robbery is when you take someone else's property with the use of force, threats, or any offensive weapon like gun, ada, knife. So when there are like street guys on the street, and guys money, I just in the office get a lot of statements. There's only I can go yen yo, I can go yen, armed robbery. It's not stealing. Go 3 years more, go 7 years more. Because it's a law offensive, but sometimes never fishy, never be threatening the person might die or even scare the person. Now, so those are the capital offenses. And like I said, it's not limited to what I mentioned. There are a lot, but because of time, we can't address all of that. Then we have defenses. Now, defenses are what you can use to defend yourself in the meantime before the court adjudicates over your matter. Now we have alibi. Okay, no. Offenses either mitigate or exonerate. Sorry, defenses, thank you. Defenses either mitigate or exonerate. When I say mitigate, it means it can, I don't know. Yeah, it can give you a soft landing. Instead of life imprisonment, only if you're on the 14 years. Instead, only death point, thank you. Only reduce punishment here. But exoneration, téèyàn bá ti sọ defense yìí báyìí, ó máa yọ̀yàn kúrò nínú ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ yẹn. Pátápátá, for example, alibi. Tán bá dé bóyá wọ́n jà nílé ńsìn, wọ́n ní ẹni yìí kú, wọ́n kó gbogbo aráalé, wọ́n dé police station. Tẹ́bá tó dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé mi ò sí nílé, and nobody can prove that you were around at the time. Mi ò sí nílé. Kò ní di story pé àárọ̀ ọjọ́ yẹn mo jáde. I was not there. That alibi, say you were not there, would exonerate you completely from the offense. There is insanity. Insanity, I can't say insanity mitigates. I think it exonerates because it leaves the charge of the governor. If at the time, we are any 5 minutes, like Oman Sasi, Oman Sawa, and at the time, T, Oman Fewa. At the time to Fewa yen, any o Mugo, Ogunyo, to ba fe con statement, to ti mo ko ma fe wa fellow yen, o Fewa ni mo. It might sound funny, but that's it. But you know, you have to prove that psychiatric hospital any yo ultimate fair man fellow. With that, or that's what you end. Another one is intoxication. There's voluntary intoxication, there's involuntary intoxication. Now, that is when you think about intoxication. Now, voluntary intoxication would mitigate your punishment to lead to death. But involuntary intoxication, to just boya, okay, only case continue. The guy said one house party. Then at the house party, one come up a drug to one or one and that odo girl yen lo mo pe oti tin ka loju bobo yen girl yen lo bosho bobo yen girl yen lo se pato wa di àárọ̀ girl yen lo report bobo yen ni station pé ó rape me. Now if it is not what you did, it will just mitigate. Okay, it was not voluntary. It was under the under duress of alcohol. Thank you very much. Influence of alcohol at the time. Now there's another defense called bona fide claim of right. Mo gbe se fún yín, ẹ bá mi rán aṣọ yìí. Ẹ wá rán aṣọ mi. 2 months kọjá, 3 months kọjá. Mo dẹ̀ rí shop yín tó wà ń ṣíṣí. Mo dẹ̀ rí aṣọ lórí mannequin. Mo dẹ̀ lọ mú aṣọ yẹn, mo mú lọlé. tí tailor yẹn bá lọ arrest mi tí n bá dé police station, the defence I will plead is bona fide claim of right. Aṣọ yẹn jọ aṣọ tí mo ti fún, tí mo dẹ̀ rí tó ti rán, mo dẹ̀ lọ mú aṣọ mi. No, it exonerates you completely. You did not steal the clothes. Mo gbé generator fún generator man kó bá mi tún generator mi ṣe. Kò dẹ̀ tún generator yẹn ṣe 3 months 4 months. Mo dẹ̀ ń kọjá ní di shop ẹ̀. Mo rí generator tó jẹ́ generator. Mo dẹ̀ lọ gbé. That's not stealing. That's the difference. You can claim that yes, I thought it was mine. It looked like mine, and I'd given him mine some months back, and he had not repaired it, and I took it. Now there is mistake. Even though, like my senior colleague said, that ignorance of the law is not an excuse. There is mistake. You can plead mistake. If this the later end of that, okay, whatever you are doing, you did not know that ó máa já sí kú. Ó mọ̀ pé ó máa já sí pé ẹni yẹn máa kán lẹ́sẹ̀. Ẹ mọ̀ pé tẹ́ni yẹn bá lò nọ́lẹ́ tó lè ń ṣe oògùn. Ó lè jẹ́ sí something you did not expect. In your statement, you can say that indeed I did not know, because tábà dé police station, àwọn police officers yẹn wọ́n máa ti halẹ̀ mọ́yàn. I will charge you tomorrow. I will do this. Kò yẹ ká máa jẹ́ kí gbogbo kíní tó máa ń sọ yẹn kó kó sí wa lórí. What you would write is what you would write. And even if 10 persons come and say what happened, important ti kọ́ lẹ̀ yẹn lè máa tẹnu mọ́. I would stop here now, and I hope that maybe when questions start arising, we will be able to talk better. Thank you very much.
Ẹ̀yin Olúwa lógo. Wọ́n kàn ní kémi náà chip in something. They didn't tell me before. So, but based on tí àwọn bàbá mi ti sọ, mo kàn fẹ́ add nǹkan kékeré kan lórí ọ̀rọ̀ shares. Mo fẹ́ kẹ́ mọ̀ wípé tẹ́ bá ra shares with any company, you can sell the shares if you need money. And you can also transfer your shares to your children. When you buy shares with a company, shares here is forever. It's for life. Unless you sell it out completely. That is when you don't have it with that company anymore. Then you can also transfer shares to your children when you get to an old age. Because Sherry, owó yẹn ó máa máa wọnú account yín forever. And you know pé ẹ máa gbogbo wa la máa dàgbà tá máa lọ síbi tá gbà ń rè. Tá bá fi sílẹ̀ tá a ṣe nǹkan kan lórí ẹ̀ àti filẹ̀ fún báńkì nìyẹn. So I would advise that when you are getting to a certain age, you start do your legal documentations on the things you have, handing over to your children. Mo mọ̀ pé a lot of people like kí máa sọ̀rọ̀ pé will or no will. Fine, woman dá wàhálà lẹ̀, and it discourages a lot of people. But truly, it is very good. I would say it is very good. I'm a living witness, though it causes conflict, and I don't advise anybody towards that. Pé wá béèrè lọ́wọ́ mi bí ò ní san kankan. Ẹ̀yin ni kẹ́ lọ wọlé yín, kẹ́ mọ̀ nǹkan tẹ́ ní, kẹ́ dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé aya yín gbé. As a parent to do that. Táyà yín ò bá ti gbé, ẹ rọra ṣe níwọ̀nba nǹkan tẹ́ bá lè ṣe. Because number one, it causes rivalry in the family. Wọ́n dẹ̀ máa ń para wọn lórí property, lórí nǹkan ẹni. Ẹ̀bẹ̀ ni mo máa bẹ̀ ẹ̀yin àwọn òbí. Gbogbo wa la máa lọ síbi tá gbà ń rè. Ká tún ilé wa ṣe according to the law. Tá bá ní company, tá bá ní ọmọ, tá mọ̀ bá ṣe fẹ́ ṣe, pé a mọ̀ pé ní run company for the rest of our life. A fẹ́ hand over. Ọmọ wo ni mo fẹ́ hand over fún? Ọmọ wo mo fẹ́ gbé lẹ̀ fún? Tẹ́ bá ti ní ọmọ tẹ́ fẹ́ gbé lẹ̀ fún, àbí bóyá gbogbo wọn lẹ fẹ́ fi ṣe board of directors in any way. You legalize everything. Call your lawyer, talk to your lawyer. Your lawyer would advise you on what to do and the steps to carry, so that your children will not end up killing each other based on a property or a company that you left behind. A lot of people say they are ignorant. Wọ́n kàn máa lọ bẹ́ẹ̀, wọ́n á fi ilẹ̀, wọ́n máa wọ́n kan orúkọ bò wọ́n láṣìírí ládùúgbò yìí. Tó jẹ́ wípé wọ́n kàn fi gbogbo ẹ̀ sílẹ̀, wọ́n dẹ̀ lọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Àwọn ọmọ tó wà láyé gan, àwọn náà filẹ̀. Wọ́n wò, wọ́n ṣe nǹkan kan sí. Títorí wípé bàbá tó ní kò ṣe nǹkan kan sí, ó filẹ̀, ó lọ. Ó dẹ̀ ní ju ìyàwó kan lọ. So téèyàn bá ti ní ju ìyàwó kan lọ, tó ní méjì, tó ní mẹ́ta, ó máa ń da kan tó lé, ẹ pé lọ́ọ̀yà, ẹ bá lọ́ọ̀yà sọ̀rọ̀, nǹkan tẹ́ fún oníkálukú, ẹ fún wọn according to the law, kẹ̀dẹ̀ sáyẹ̀nsì. Tèmi ò jù yẹn lọ. God bless you.
Ẹ̀yin Olúwa, mo lérò pé gbogbo ara ti ń gbádùn ọ̀rọ̀ táwọn ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n bá wa sọ. Ṣùgbọ́n èyí tí èmi máa mú akọ́sáré sọ briefly ká lè gba question and answer. Ó ní fundamental right. Fundamental right. Kí ni fundamental right? Púpọ̀ nínú wa máa try láti incorporate ẹ̀ pẹ̀lú nǹkan tí sisters ní sọ. Now, lábẹ́ òfin ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ni kò mọ ẹ̀tọ́ ẹ̀ lábẹ́ òfin. Now, tá bá wo àwọn tó ń ṣe organizer, àwọn tailors, àwọn tó ní iṣẹ́ ọwọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn, caterers, àwọn hairdressers, àwọn tó ń ṣerun bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn, wọ́n máa ń ní association. Àwọn míì máa ní nítorí pé ẹni yóò join association wa, wọ́n máa lọ sínú ṣọ́ọ̀bù, wọ́n lè yọ orí dryer, wọ́n lè lọ́kọ́ gbé orí machine yẹn, bá ti gbé orí machine yẹn pè wá. Nǹkan tó fi ń sọ ni wípé there is freedom of association. Ẹ̀tọ́ yẹn lábẹ́ òfin ó dúró ti ẹni, and that is the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Bó ṣe kéré yìí, ó ju gbogbo òfin lọ. Tó bá ti ní there is freedom of association, ìyẹn tó túmọ̀ sí ni pé tí bá ń ṣe organizer, ó lè ṣe association yìí. Tí n bá jẹ́ tailor tó bá wù mí, ó ṣe pé dandan wọ́n wá rán task force, wọ́n lọ gbé orí machine, wọ́n máa jẹ gbèsè. Bákan náà, àwọn kan tún wà tó yẹ pé tọ́lọ́pàá bá ti mú ẹ, ọlọ́pàá lè mú yàn kó commit offence, and the offence is well spelled out under the law pé o ti ṣẹ̀. But torí pé o ti ṣẹ̀ yẹn náà lábẹ́ òfin, o tún sì ní òfin nínú ìwé yìí. Yes, òun ni ìwé yẹn ṣe sọ fún wa, section 36. Only there is presumption of innocence of a person. That a person is presumed innocent until his guilt is proved. Now, ẹlòmíì wà wọ́n kàn lè mú sí ọ̀dọ̀ ọlọ́pàá tó bá ti rí ọlọ́pàá kó máa bẹ̀rù. I want to tell you, if you are a member of this church, ṣẹ́rí o gba àwọn tó jókòó síbi àlọ́ yá wọn wá, àwọn tó bá ń wá bí dáadáa ẹ mọ̀ pé ọmọ ìjọ làwọn eléyìí. Tọ́lọ́pàá bá mú ẹ gbọ́ dáadáa, kò ń ṣèyàn tó bá ṣẹ̀ nìkan lọ́lọ́pàá máa mú o. Ọlọ́pàá máa ń fa àwọn èèyàn pa, wọ́n fẹ́ gbowó lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀. Tó bá dẹ̀ ti ní àyà, kò lè dúró pé ẹ máa pa mí ni. Wọ́n máa gbowó lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀, wọ́n á fi ẹ lẹ̀, wọ́n á tiẹ̀ tún ní kó ṣe transfer, wọ́n á mú ẹ lọ bí POS. But tọ́lọ́pàá bá mú ẹ, tọ́ mú ẹ dé station, that point, sọ fún wọn wípé o ò lè kọ anything. Ọmọ ọjọ́ yìí mò ń sọ o. Sọ fún wọn pé o ò lè kọ nǹkan kan tí lọ́ọ̀yà ẹ bá dé, jẹ́ kọ́ mọ̀. Má wò pé o lówó ti fẹ́ lọ gba lọ́ọ̀yà, àwọn ọmọ ọjọ́ wa máa dá yín lóhùn lórí àwọn aspect yẹn, but tó bá jẹ́ business náà a máa jọ sọ̀rọ̀ owó. Now, tí ọlọ́pàá bá mú ẹ, sọ fún wọn pé mi ò lè kọ statement àfi tí lọ́ọ̀yà mi bá dé. The provision of the law is that whenever you are being arrested, police cannot take your statement except in the presence of your lawyer. If you thought that you might gba statement yẹn, camera gbọ́dọ̀ wà ń bẹ̀ to show that statement àgbà yìí, it was taken voluntarily, not by duress. Ẹ mọ̀ bọ́lọ́pàá yẹn ṣe statement, nǹkan tó o ṣe tó bá fẹ́ nà ẹ̀ pa tó sì lọ́yà tó sì hàn, tó tó bá ti fìdí ìbọn gbà ẹ́ wàá sọ bó ṣe ṣe nǹkan tó ṣe òun dẹ̀ lọ́ máa lò ní court of law òun ló fi ṣe sọ wípé kámẹ́rà ó gbọ́dọ̀ wà níbi tó ti fẹ́ take statement yẹn jẹ́ kí lọ́ọ̀yà ẹ wà ní jókòó àwọn náà ń fẹ́ rí lọ́ọ̀yà láti lè protect the fundamental right yẹn. Now we have some cases whereby èèyàn tiẹ̀ tún lè ṣẹ̀ sófin táwọn ọlọ́pàá kọ́ máa ṣe rọ̀bọ̀ rébi kọ́ máa charge ẹni ẹ̀ kọ́ máa try offence yẹn and there is a stipulation there is a period within which you must be tried you must be taken to court. Wọ́n lè fi ẹ́sà gbọ̀ wọn kọ́ máa wá àwọn tó lówó lọ ẹbí pé kọ́ kówó wá tó bá ti mú wá àní filẹ̀ àní ṣe nǹkan èmi ìgbó tiẹ̀ ó lè jẹ́ charge tó fún ẹgbẹ́ wà wọ́ tree but because you don't know your right owó wá irú yẹn náà tó bá ti gbé ẹ sọ́dọ̀ wọn sá àhámọ́ wọn ju ìgbà tó fi ń sọ wọ́n máa jẹ gbèsè. Bákan náà bóyá ọtí ẹ̀ tí wàá gbé ẹ lọ ilé ẹjọ́ wọ́n tún fi ẹ lẹ́sìn prison wọn ò gbé ẹ wá kọ́ ṣe kéèsì ẹ o tún ní ẹ̀tọ́ lábẹ́ òfin. That's why we need to be very very cautious. Tá a bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ ẹlòmíì ò mọ̀ like last week kan tó ṣọdún mo ní client kan tí mo gbà wá ní Kirikiri arákùnrin ẹ̀ wọ́n mú fún armed robbery wọ́n dẹ̀ ti gbé lọ sí ilé ẹjọ́ wọ́n gbé lọ magistrate kan ti duplicate ẹ̀ sí Ministry of Justice wọ́n ti gbé lọ sí High Court gbogbo period tó yẹ kó fi gbé wá sí High Court kó wá defend case ẹ̀ wọ́n gbé yọjú rárá títí tí judge yẹn fi rìtá wọ́n kò appear ní magistrate High Court báyìí until táwọn èèyàn bá bí ìbá pé báyìí báyìí ní wọ́n láwọn ti gbé fáwọn lawyers wọ́n ti gbowó ọ̀hún rí case file ẹ̀ mọ́ rí case file ẹ̀ ó dẹ̀ wà ń bẹ̀ kó dẹ̀ wá ọdún méje sà kó tó di pé àwa wọnú case yẹn pé òkè ó tún níbi tá a máa ń gbé sí enforcement fundamental right yẹn la file fún ní High Court pé ẹni yìí ó wà Kirikiri ẹlòmíì tó bá rí sí tán lè rí ọ́ lè ní ex-convict ó ṣe ex-convict tó bá lọ pé ní ex-convict tó ló lọ ọdún méjì ó ṣẹ̀ dé ó máa tún charge ẹ̀ wá tún sanwó because wọn convict ẹ̀ wọn ṣe ẹjọ́ ẹ̀ ilé ẹjọ́ ò sọ pé ó jẹ̀bi ẹ̀sùn tó fi kàn án bọ̀ nítorí pé àwọn èèyàn ẹ̀ náà fear láti sọ pé ẹ jẹ́ ká rìn sí ká gbá jáde you must know your right even during the time láti ẹ̀ tún fẹ́ gba tàbí application ẹ̀ wọlé ní court ìjọ tí ìyá ẹ̀ wá sí court the fear the woman could not enter into the court ìta ni màmá yẹn lọ jókòó sí màmá kí lè ṣe bí ẹ máa wà nulẹ̀ ó ní ẹ̀rù bá òun báwo ló ń ṣe máa wọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ilé ẹjọ́ ló ń pe bí ẹ máa wọ bẹ́ẹ̀ pẹ̀lú ògùn ọlọ́run àtẹ̀sẹ̀bọ kéèsì yẹn ọlọ́run dẹ̀ fún wa ṣe agbábọ̀bọ̀ yẹn jáde tó bá wọn ṣọdún ìtùnú àwẹ̀ after 7 years wọn try ẹ̀ a gbé ẹjọ́ lọ sí ilé ẹjọ́ pé ẹni yìí tó wà ní ilé ẹjọ́ yìí ó ní ẹ̀tọ́ lábẹ́ òfin láti máa lò ju 48 hours lọ ní àhámọ́ tí wọn ò bá lè try case ẹ̀ kọ́ fílẹ̀ unconditionally you must know your right now ìyẹn lórí right then I want to talk about landlord and tenant ìyẹn náà nígbà míì a máa rí tí landlord máa wá àwọn landlord yẹn dẹ̀ pọ̀ tó máa threaten tenant òun ló fà tó yẹ pé most landlord máa ń sọ àwọn míì gan máa sọ fún mi pé lọ́yà mi ì fẹ́ lọ́yà ńlé mi o mi ì fẹ́ lọ́yà ńlé mi o máa ní màmá kí ló dé àwọn náà ò fẹ́ lọ́yà reason ni pé kò ń fi gbogbo ọ̀lẹ́ máa bá try nonsense níjọ́ tó bá ti sanwó lé màá gba agreement lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ because ẹ ti gba owó lé agreement àti commission ẹ máa fún mi lá agreement most of our landlords ta ni wọ́n á kàn gba agreement commission wọn ò ní fún ẹ ní agreement inú agreement yẹn dẹ̀ ni àwọn ẹ̀tọ́ ẹ ló máa wà àwọn ojúṣe ẹ àwọn nǹkan tó yẹ ká máa ṣe nínú ilé as a tenant they are all encapsulated in that tenancy agreement but wọn kì í fún wa àwa náà dẹ̀ kì í béèrè ẹlòmíì tó bá fún wa ní quick notice àbí lọ́ọ̀yà amúlẹ́tà wá ẹ̀ nígbà tó bá ní ẹ̀ acknowledge ẹlòmíì máa ní irọ́ mi lè tọwọ́ bọ̀wé no ẹ jẹ́ ká mú yẹn kúrò nínú ìṣe wa tó bá mú lẹ́tà wá fún wa anywhere ẹ jẹ́ ká acknowledge wípé èmi lágbájá mo gba original copy kìíní kò ń pààyàn kò ń ṣe kankan fún yàn ẹlòmíì ìbẹ̀rù wípé lẹ́tà tó mú afọ ẹ̀ gan bóyá yẹ kó fún ẹ 6 months notice from now síwájú ni wọ́n lè ti fa déètì ẹ̀ fi ẹ pé 6 months tó fún ẹ gan ó máa pé lọ́túnla but nítorí pé o ò gbà kó sáì fún kó lọ fún lọ́ọ̀yà kó advice yẹ tó o bá ti gbà bóyá jùlẹ̀ àbò sọnù ẹlòmíà ló ń fàyà tiẹ̀ ti bá ẹ because it is deemed that wọ́n ti fún ẹ 6 months notice torí o ò gbà láti fún lọ́ọ̀yà kọ́ wò kọ́ lè tètè reply wọn pé lẹ́tà tẹ bá déètì yìí o ẹ máa léwu o ẹ lọ ṣe writing but torí wọn náà ò gbà ó ti fàyà àbò sọnù ó máa jẹ́ kẹ́lòmíì kó sí ṣọ̀lọ̀ ẹlòmíì láńlọ́ọ̀dù ẹ lè gbé lọ sí court mo ti léyàn tí láńlọ́ọ̀dù gbé lọ sí court kò dẹ̀ appear ní court mo dẹ̀ rí mo tún bá sọ̀rọ̀ mo ń ráwọn bailiff court tó ń wá sádùúgbò mi mú ìwà kílẹ̀ wá ṣe kí ló ṣe wọ́n ní bọ̀bọ̀ kan bí mo tún pè mo bá sọ̀rọ̀ òun lọ́kọ̀ ó ní I'm expecting the landlord to take me to court ọmọ Igbo ni mo á rẹ̀ rìn mo dẹ̀ rí pé àwọn tèmi ń rí ládùúgbò mi tó ń wáyé àwọn òun jáde tí ó bá níbo yẹ jẹ́ ìjọ tó máa ṣe fún wa kẹrù ẹ̀ síta ni because kò appear ní court ẹlòmíì tó bá mú ìwá láti court fún ẹ pé àníwèé court fún ẹ ẹgbàá pẹ̀láyọ̀ ẹ wá lọ́ọ̀yà wọ́n máa advice yín wọ́n máa fi lọ́kàn balẹ̀ àwọn nǹkan tẹ́ máa ṣe kò ń ṣe nǹkan táwọn máa sá fún pé wọ́n mú ẹjọ́ wá mi ìfẹ́jọ́ mo fẹ́ ẹgbàá àti landlord àti tenant gbogbo wa la ní right ẹlòmíì tí landlord bá ti gbé ilé fún sìn landlord yẹn tó bá jẹ́ lówó ó lè da ayẹ̀pẹ̀ sẹ́nu ọ̀nà ẹ̀ àbí tó bá fẹ́ kó jáde wọ́n lè já ayẹ̀pẹ̀ kó fi blọ́ọ̀kù ẹnu ẹ̀ wọ́n máa fẹ́ ní ẹ lára kó lè tètè kúrò gbogbo àwọn yẹn kò bófin mu tẹ́ bá rí àwọn lawyers wọ́n máa advice yín ẹ máa kọ lẹ́tà landlord gan jẹ tenant lówó oúnjẹ gbèsè o because àti ráwọn landlord mi wọ́n á lọ ṣí roof ilé wọ́n lè lọ yọ pan kọ́ lọ yọ bìkan pé torí pé kò mo lè jáde kò lọ time ti pé landlord tó bá ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ wá a máa gbowó landlord tó bá ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ wá landlord gan máa ń tutù lábẹ́ tẹ̀ máa tún charge ẹ̀ so ẹ jẹ́ ká mọ ẹ̀tọ́ wa gẹ́gẹ́ bí onílé àti tenant mo ń ṣe pé torí mo jẹ́ landlord kó kọ́ máa fi lé ní àwọn èèyàn lára ẹlòmíì láìkì ẹ̀ ìwọ náà wàá ṣe even kó jẹ́ landlord ìwọ náà máa wu ìwà gẹ́gẹ́ bíi pé Christian ni mí má ṣe pé èmi ni landlord nǹkan tí tenant ò lè ṣe ìwọ máa fẹ́ ṣe torí èmi ni mo nílé tí tenant bá ṣe wàá fi quick notice dẹ́rù bá gbogbo àwọn kìíní àlálẹ̀ yìí ó wà lábẹ́ òfin oníkálukú òun ló ní right ẹ̀ then bákan náà gẹ́gẹ́ bí mo yẹ tó bá fún wa ní agreement náà ká tó sign ẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ káwa náà wá lọ́ọ̀yà wa ẹ má kàn tọwọ́ bọ̀wé kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ sign tó bá ti fún ní agreement landlord ẹ fún ẹ lágreement àbí anything ẹ wá lọ́ọ̀yà ẹ jẹ́ kọ́kọ́ kà á kẹ́ tó fi ọwọ́ sínú ẹ̀ arábìnrin kan nínú ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ wa ó wà ní àjọ yìí ó wá ó gbé agreement kan wá pé nǹkan tí developer fẹ́ kọ́lé àwọn ṣe tó fóun lélẹ̀ pé ká bá òun wò ìgbà ká bá wò á rí pé mo á yọ báírò tì mo kọ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí sákọ̀ ẹ̀ mo sá láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ dé parí agreement kan ti di blue ó ti bàjẹ́ mo á gbé fún padà pé ẹ lọ gbé fún developer yẹn mi wà bẹ́ẹ̀ mi ṣe rí gan mo ti rí pé lọ́ọ̀yà kan ló bìí ẹ̀ ọkọ̀ lọ ṣe bá dọ́ tí ò ní seal developer yẹn torí pé ó mọ̀ mí ó ní ta ni lọ́ọ̀yà yẹn ó ní lọ́ọ̀yà church wa ni níbo lọ́fíìsì ẹ̀ ó ní mọ́gájì ó ní ó gbé mo ti mọ̀ ó kọ́ gbé fún ó pè mí ó ní bo mo àmọ́ ní mo hàn lé ìgbà rẹ̀ máa dọ́fíìsì mo ní máa dọ́fíìsì títí 12 ó ní irọ́ màá wá bá yín lé má jẹ́ ń wá màá wá bá yín lé torí òun ló lọ ṣe kò tiẹ̀ kì í ṣe lọ́ọ̀yà bọ̀ ẹni tí ò bá kárù nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ wàá kọ̀ tọwọ́ bọ̀ á wá sokùn mọ́ ẹ lọ́wọ́ so ẹ jẹ́ ká máa kíyèsí ogoro àwọn nǹkan báyìí gbogbo ala ní ẹ̀tọ́ lábẹ́ òfin let us consult our lawyers tó bá fún wa níwèé ká má bàa wọ tọwọ́ bọ ìdà òfin. Ayọ̀ ni o.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, ma'am. So we have just few minutes for question. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́.
Ẹ̀yin Olúwa, question mi ni pé ẹni tí wọ́n mú pé ó ṣe nǹkan tí kò dẹ̀ sí ìdánilójú nǹkan tó ṣe yẹn tí wọ́n fi sẹ́wọ̀n tó wálé tán wálé tà find out pé kò ṣe ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ yẹn kí lèèyàn lè ṣe sírú nǹkan yẹn.
ẹ̀yin olúwa ẹ jọ̀ọ́ question tèmi ó lọ báyìí ẹ jọ̀ọ́ mo fẹ́ kọ́ là wá lóye ẹni tí wọ́n fún níwèé nílé tán ní kí kó wá sí court the first one ó lọ wọ́n fún ní another one second one ó lọ ìgbà tó máa di third one wọn ò fún fourth one wọn ò fún tán fi ṣe ẹjọ́ yẹn ẹjọ́ tí irúfẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ nígbà tó bá pọ̀ sí irúfẹ́ ẹni níbẹ̀ kí ni a máa ṣe sí.
Ẹ̀yin Olúwa lógo. I want to ask question as regards to the business registration that Barrister OKUWOBI said earlier. Under the Corporate Affairs Commission, it says that every business must register every entrepreneur must register their business name and as well file for the business name. That's the annual return. Most business owners does not know that they need to file for their annual returns. That is the reason why you see some businesses that the CAC are scrapping away, or because they are not registered, they are not filing for their annual returns. So I want to ask this question because I have a lot of clients that I do that for. They used to ask me that what are the benefits of the CAC? That is why you filing for the annual return.
Sure. We'll take it one after the other. The first one, Teberima. I want Alagbawa to down way. About Mole, you have a fundamental, you can file a fundamental human right and you can be compensated for that. And you can file for damages. And that's so simple. To my brother, what for any we lack of call, or lost the court. Once serve any second hearing notice or whatever trial notice, we lost the court. You don't launch in court, so much pay offering date pay on the 3rd, on the 4th, on the 5th. Because if we are going to adjourn the case, they will tell you the date which the next date of sitting. So you should, when you are in court, you will listen and say, okay, court adjourn matter and see on the 6th of April or on the 10th of March. One bottom as the court pleases. Wọ́n sọ pé àsìkò bí ẹ̀kọ́ láti lẹ̀ pé lọ́ọ̀yà kí lọ sọ déètì wo nìyẹn tó wọ́n ní láti fún ẹni ó ti wà ń bẹ̀ lẹ́lẹ́kìnní ẹlẹ́kejì òwà mọ̀kọ́ ẹlẹ́kẹta ẹlẹ́kẹrin wọ́n á gba judgement in fact pé kò tẹ̀ kọ́kọ́ lọ lásán fún 2 days ẹ̀ fún 2 times ẹ̀ lásán ó ti show pé you are present in court and a judgement can be taken against you. So fair hearing. So listen to your dates. It's not compulsory that they have to serve you your hearing notice, but it's not compulsory. Some magistrate will not look at it. But the judgment is on here. On the annual returns, Sherry, on the annual returns, woman sokini, and it's quite a painful thing. A lot of people intentionally ignore. One left venture only. Owó tí wọ́n gbà lọ́dọọdún. Àná dẹ̀ máa ṣe kíni? Àná fi ilẹ̀. Bọ́dọọdún ni. Tó tọ́ máa fáìlì ẹ̀. Accumulated ló máa file. Oh, bá ti máa file for 15 years. Wàá sọ 15 years yẹn with penalty. So sometimes we tell our client, you need to file annual returns. Lawyer, for what now? What are you filing annual returns for? Meanwhile, in the new KAMA which we have now, it has made provision for a company to be rendered inactive. So, and why you are inactive is because you don't pay your annual returns. And there are some good business people, investors, that are sort of business buy. But it is a type of the phone clinical a big page companies. As a couple of clinical, Elewa inactive. Eleyo le bamish business. How can we will get back to you? Only more reason why we will get back to you is because there are some things which are required for you to do. You have ignorantly said the meaning. Thank you.
My question goes to OKUWOBI Mrs. You said something involuntary intoxication, and you made an instance of a lady that deliberately raped a guy, and then now went to report that it was the other way around. If there is no new evidence or record evidence, how do you manage the case? I want to take you back to Baba Ijesha, that for actor Baba Ijesha then. Then second question, difference between punishment of manslaughter and murder. What's the difference? Manslaughter and murder.
Question mi tí mo fẹ́ béèrè ni ìgbà wo ló gbúdọ̀ jẹ́ tí landlord bá máa increase ilé? Is it months or year interval notice?
Question tèmi ni nípa àwọn báńkì tá à ń lò Nàìjíríà yìí. Ọ̀tọ̀ náà máa yọ stamp duty, ọ̀tọ̀ náà máa yọ alert duty, wọ́n lè yọ stamp duty ẹ̀mẹ̀fà lójúmọ́ kan. Is there anything that we can do? Because owó tó ń yọ nínú owó wa ó pọ̀. So I don't understand. Ṣé ó ní kankan tá a lè ṣe? Gbàmí nǹkan máa yọ 3,500, wọ́n máa yọ 500, wọ́n máa yọ 2,000. Ó bá dẹ̀ lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn, kò sí kankan tí anybody lè ṣe. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́, ṣé ó ní kankan tá a lè ṣe?
As regards the intoxication and rape, now, once you are, when someone, if anyone reports in the police station that they have been raped, the ideal thing is after the rape, you go to the hospital and get a medical report. Because most times in the office, if you do not have a medical report to prove that this person was raped, it's either the defendant, the suspect is exonerated of the offense. Because we don't have anything to prove. Even if our feel where this person actually raped this person at the charge in court, in court, if the court adjudicates, the court can always also exonerate the defendant and say there's nothing to prove that this person was raped. Since there's no eyewitness, there are no circumstantial evidences to prove that this thing happened. Did I answer your question? And as regards the difference between manslaughter and murder, now manslaughter is life imprisonment. If you kill somebody without intention to kill, you get life imprisonment. And for murder, you can get life imprisonment or death by hanging. That's it. Then the rent increment. Now there's no particular law that provides that a landlord can increase the rent when the landlord should increase rent. However, in the agreements between landlord and tenants, there's usually a clause called rent renewal clause. And that rent renewal clause will state that if your landlord will increase your rent, he would inform you, the tenant, giving you certain period by writing that Slagbajao mo fẹ́ increase rent here. Not just that rent you're due lọ́dún yìí. Oh yeah, you're going to pay 450 next year. No, I think some clauses will even have 3 months notice before your rent expiration, before that present rent expires, telling you that by your new net rent or more increase rent here. So you as the tenant will then approach your landlord, then you guys will negotiate. Then as regards mommy that said banks are giving you, now you know the banks are they are regulated by the CBN. So whatever the CBN policy says, banks do. So if you're not comfortable, the bank will collect as the CBN or your legal practitioner if you can get justice that way. Thank you.
Yolua. So just to expatiate, láti jẹ́ kí answer yẹn wà robust. Ṣẹ̀rí púpọ̀ nù wa à ń like àti san taxes. And if you look at it very well, it's one of the reasons why many of us don't have registered businesses. Because we know that the moment about to register and sing, one pay tax iboniye, our breast needs some tax. They pay some tax. In Torie, so yeah, our culture is the type that kini shakole yen, it was not part of our culture. That here àwọn òyìnbó dé, lobres ni impose pé kí ọba kó enforce here, how in your man, so that they can have resources to take back to England. So in a way, kò fẹ́ mọ́ wa lára láti máa san. And see, they are different. Whether you like it or not, we have to pay our taxes. Taxes are the ways that government raises revenue in order to fix infrastructure. There are many ways that government raises revenue, but tax is one of the principal ways. Yes, lóòótọ́ wọ́n lè máa kó jẹ nǹkan tó yẹ kán fi ṣe wọ́n fi ṣe á dẹ̀ máa dùn wá lára pé à ń san kinní yìí náà kí ló dé tí gbogbo nǹkan tá à ń sanwó fún àti ẹ̀jẹ̀ ìgbádùn ẹ̀. Yes, ìtorí ẹ̀ tó bá ti di next election cycle ká gbìyànjú ká wo àwọn tá a máa yàn sípò fínífíní tó máa ṣojú wa tó máa ṣe dáadáa. But there's no way you will not pay taxes, because it's a way that the government uses in raising revenue. Now, there are two terminologies in taxation. Maybe when you see your lawyer will be able to explain very well. There's something they call tax evasion, and there's something they call tax avoidance. When you evade tax, it is punishable. You can be punished. Somebody more tax wa fún ẹ lọ́mà bill. Oh, san lọ́mà bill. Wọ́n ní ẹ̀tọ́ láti gbé lọ sí customary court. Wọ́n fine ní ẹ̀ ń bẹ̀. Any tax that you don't pay, you evade it, then you are liable. But there's something they also call tax avoidance. That one you need to see your lawyer. Yẹn ló máa kọ́ ẹ ní ọ̀nà tó o máa fi ọ̀nà òfin ni o. O máa evade the tax yẹn, but o máa evade it in a legal way. Láti avoid it. You avoid it. You avoid it in a legal way. Tó fi jẹ́ pé kò ní jẹ́ sí tax evasion. I'll give you an example. Ibi tá a wà yín sìn. Under the law that says you must pay land use charge, the land use law of Lagos State, there are some